Okay, so I just want to get back to this example, and hopefully you can understand. After we have seen these models behind, you can probably understand better about why these mistakes are making, or why besides the first choice, some like other choice makes sense, right? Because the model is identifying different hierarchy structures. There are some hierarchy structures shared by these outputs. So maybe sometimes it may mistake because of some hierarchy structures identify higher. But we do agree that different subjects can share a lot of same hierarchy structures. So that's actually how the mistakes are made. But actually, it's a meaningful mistake. It's not like ridiculous ones. Okay. So any questions so far? If not, so let's see what we can do after we can identify images. So the first task seems quite straightforward, right? So we just say, oh, you just, I give you a cat and dog pictures and tell me what's inside. But this task actually helps the images to help the algorithm, the neural networks, to understand the strokes or the structure and the subjects such that it has the potential to make even fancier applications. So these are some examples I list here, which are actually embedded in many apps right in your smartphone. So for example, these Google goggles, if you're using Google, and you can scan the subjects just using a camera, and it can even search the product for you for the price, etc. That seems like a very immediate task because like basically it's identifying subjects, right? So on the other side, we want to, there's an application called a neural style. So on the one side, we have some style of arts, like Starry Night. On the other side, we have some images, and we want to convert the image into some artistic style. So how would that be possible? So it is actually an interesting task in the sense that how to define an artistic style, right? What does style mean to algorithms or to neural networks? That's we will explain later. And also for the so-called deep dream, so we just make some like combine some weird structure together, and you can see that involves not only like you just overlapping images together, but also about okay, what is the dog head and what is human being's head, right? What is how to combine face to face. So the algorithm need to understand the different concepts in that sense. Another application is called automatic colorization. So it's like a reverting, right? So it's very easy to make a colorful image to be a grayscale. You just delete all the colors, but the reversing is quite complicated, right? So it's not only about just adding colors to the image, because the algorithm need to understand like what is actually the cloud, right? What is sky, or what is the background, and what is foreground, and the swimming pool, right? So you make it blue because you need to understand that it's a swimming pool. So the colorization is also same, not that hard, but actually a very amazing application, because if you can successfully colorizing these images, the algorithm definitely understands what's happened in these images. And also some interesting filters, or you're all using either in Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram, all these like apps, so they can make some cute images for celebrities. So for this kind of application, you can also imagine that you need to understand the face of human being, right? Where are eyes, where are the nose, where are hairs, and then you can add filter to it. So all these filters you're using now in your Instagram or the other apps there are deep learning algorithms behind. And so the nature of why it works is because like we need to identify, the algorithm need to understand the hierarchy structures of human faces. And also this is on the application about localizing, right? So previously the task is just like a single thing, like a single dog or single car. But now there might be multiple subjects, and we need to identify what are these. And so the idea is basically just we use some local area again about different places, and then we see that if the outputs are the same or not. So, so this is like the localization idea. We just said that, okay, so there are multiple subjects in the images, but in order to identify these subjects, we just use some small local rectangles, and then we use them as input of images and an output about the previous ImageNet, and we can see it from the structures. This probably will be a better visualization. So we just split or cut the image into different small rectangles, and using different types of like rectangles as the input of the previous ImageNet tasks. And once it identifies dogs or car or bicycles, and you can see, okay, this rectangle has a very high confidence of it's a dog, so we just highlight this rectangle. And this is the idea about how we can apply the previous ImageNet example into localizing. And here is a similar thing, right? You can see that we can identify different part of the subject to make it classify well. And the next task is about, also this is another interesting example. So we use the same thing for localizing. So use small rectangles to identify the different concepts in the images. And in the algorithm, you can identify there's a woman, camera, cat, purple, crowd, holding. So the next question is, can we understand what's happening in this image, right? So it's not only about object detection. Oh, we have find a woman, a camera, but what's the relationship between the woman and the camera, right? So this is more complicated task. We want to understand the relationships in the image. And this is like how we tell the story from the images, which is called the captioning. So this is like what we are going to talk about in the next. And another important thing is about object segmentation. So we're not only using rectangle, but want to identify the boundaries of these images. Okay, so this is some important, this is a summary about these important examples I mentioned. From beginning, it's a very simple task called image classification. The question is just, is this a dog or not? And then we need to identify multiple objects in the images. And there are any images and what's in the images, right? There are probably some cat and dog, and which pixels is a dog and which car is a cat. And then the next one is about the relationship between a dog and a cat, right? So that's like different. The tasks are more and more complicated, but you can see that the underlying idea starting from the image classification.